What's good, people? Agent Juice reporting for duty. On today's Speedpaint, I've decided to get us all in the festive holiday spirit by speed painting something totally unrelated. Helga G. Pataki from Hey Arnold. Arnold! Boom. And in this particular speed paint, I'll be doing two things. First off, I'm deviating from the crossover shtick for a bit. Secondly, I'm actually going to be smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm! Woo! But no. Seriously. Secondly, I'm actually going to be drawing Teenage Helga from the canceled spin-off series The Patakis that Craig Bartlett wanted to make but couldn't. Now, because there was never any official episode that came out, Helga's teenage design isn't 100% solidified. But this particular fan art piece by CTW36 is kinda sorta considered to be the closest analog to the description of what Helga would have looked like in the series, so I'm just gonna use this basically as the design. Now, Hey Arnold is one of the many shows I grew up with that I really got into. And of the many shows I really enjoyed as a kid, it probably has to be one of the deepest. It's a kind of show that I can rewatch as an adult and catch a bunch of really dark and mature themes that flew over my wee tyke head back in the day. One of the main aspects that made this show so deep was its rich cast. Just about every character on the show had some kind of deep and meaningful episode dedicated to them, and let's not forget the plethora of tall tale-esque one-shot characters that peppered the show, particularly in the earlier episodes. I mean, you got characters like Pigeon Man, Stoop Kid, Monkey Man! You get the idea. It's like each character could totally have their own show, each in a different genre, and it would all work. But of those many, many characters in the show, my personal favorite is Helga. And so today I would like to draw inspiration from both Hey Arnold as a show and Helga as a character. As far as the show is concerned, the main thing I wish to draw inspiration from is its lore. Yes, surprisingly enough, out of all the wild and crazy fantasy cartoons I've seen in my life, Hey Arnold probably has to have some of the best lore in a show. This is mainly due to that aforementioned tall tale-esque feeling of the show. It really does feel like these kids live in a kind of strange, low fantasy, urban voodoo kind of world where myth and legend just happen to coexist with gritty city life. And what's really funny is that the magic of the show isn't diminished when Arnold and the gang go out to investigate and uncover the truth behind these legends. Let's take the Pigeon Man fiasco, for example. The whole thing starts out with Gerald doing his usual shtick of charming the children with yet another rousing and greatly exaggerated urban legend, this time telling the tale of the mysterious Pigeon Man. So Arnold decides to investigate this mystery, and he does find the Pigeon Man. He doesn't find some mystical creature. He only finds some strange guy who really likes pigeons and would rather be with pigeons over people due to society's uncaring and confusing ways.
This is awful! Who did this?
People, Arnold.
We can rebuild the cages and sweep up. Your birds will come back.
Of course they'll come back. They're birds. I trust them. I understand them. It's people I don't understand.
The Pigeon Man is not a cryptid. He's just a normal guy in extraordinary circumstances. But again, this doesn't detract from the magical feeling of the show. If anything, it replaces the supernatural mystery with this touching insight into the human experience of the outcasts in society, which is its own kind of magic, if you think about it. Now, later episodes of Hey Arnold drop the urban legend stories and begin focusing more on the recurring cast and their various problems. But due to the show's ability to dive into these individual lives and give us new perspective, it somehow manages to maintain that magical touch. It's just taken a different form this time around. To be frank, Hey Arnold is not really a show I would create. I'm not really good at telling stories about normal people in normal circumstances. I always have to throw in a supernatural or sci-fi or fantasy element into my writing. It's just the way I'm wired. But if I could create a work that captures the subtle but deep insight into characters that bring out a unique form of magic, that would be super cool, and ultimately that is what I hope to glean from a show like Hey Arnold. Now let's go ahead and talk Helga G. Pataki, shall we? Helga is not one of these tall tale characters with a crazy backstory, but I dare say she is the most complicated character on the show, more so than even Arnold himself. And as an aside, I'll mention that Arnold himself is probably one of the least complicated characters on the show. This is not a knock on his character. He's a good kid. But because he tends to have his ducks in a row, there isn't much to explore as far as character turmoil. But Helga, she's She's got much turmoil. Helga has much going on with her. I love her because she's one of those tough girl characters who uses that toughness as a mask to hide what's really underneath. In my previous speed paint of Erwin from Grim Adventures, to which I will link somewhere on the screen, I mentioned that my least favorite character on Grim Adventures was Mandy because she was emotionally stunted. Because Mandy isn't allowed to smile, I argued that she couldn't express a full range of emotion and therefore couldn't reach her full potential as a fully fleshed character. Helga is the polar opposite, much like being the polar opposite of Arnold, because Helga, unlike Mandy, is a plethora of emotions.
Here you go, football head.
Thanks. Hey,
Sucker!
man, seems like Helga's always picking on you in particular, Arnold.
Oh, orzo-shaped Prometheus wandering dim hallways of my...
What is this crap? Oh, Arnold, it's me, Helga. Yes, Helga G. Pataki, the one who worships you. Yes, wakes each day full of passionate thoughts of you. Oh, my angel, sweet love. Oh, how I love.
I mean, my God, my cup runneth over of how juicy of a character Helga really is. Helga's life isn't the absolute worst in the world, but it isn't exactly the best. You see, Helga is a neglected child. Her father only cares about his beeper empire. Her mother is an implied alcoholic. Her sister Olga, though outwardly kind and loving, just doesn't seem to be able to connect with the more jaded and morose Helga. And of course, Olga being the favored child of the two and stealing away her parents' attention doesn't exactly help the situation either. Because of this, it's no wonder Helga puts up a tough girl facade and harbors maniacally emphatic romantic feelings for Arnold. Now, I ain't no child psychologist, but it seems that all of this stems from her neglect, and watching Helga work through her problems with insane results is just a treat to watch. That's actually part of the reason why I wanted to do a Patakis speed paint as opposed to a Hey Arnold speed paint of Helga. Because if the Patakis were a show, it would star Helga as the main character, and I would kill for a show starring Helga. Particularly a show geared more toward adults and therefore allowed to explore more adult and darker themes. Man, we really missed something incredible on that, didn't we? But hey, you know, in this day and age of old 90s Nicktoon revivals, we very well could get a Pataki show sometime in the future. But in the meantime, a man can dream. Anyway, the main thing I wish to glean from Helga is her rich and complicated character and personality. I dream of one day creating a character that can be that complex and full of crazy storytelling potential. Because a character like that would be remembered fondly for the engaging and memorable individual that they are. And so with that last thought, people, I think I'll go ahead and wrap up today's video. Well then, folks, you know what to do. If you like what you see here and you wish to see more, go ahead and passive-aggressively slap those like, subscribe, and notification buttons, as it helps out the channel and the algorithm, and it lets me know what you like. Also, feel free to comment below and let me know what you think, or if you have any requests for future content. And also go ahead and share the video with others so that they too may join our crazy cartoon cult. In addition, if you wish to follow me elsewhere, go ahead and hit up my social media links in the description box down below, as per usual. And with all that said, I thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you all stick around. And until next time, diggity 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 deuces.